show. In the next 60 minutes, anything can happen because David's at the controls. But it's welcome to Joshua and co. So, on Merseyside now. So, tell us all about how you got here, what's the plan, and what's coming up next.
Well, I think Daddy and I, this is Dad and I.
Hi there.
We've been presenting the Dad and I segments, which of course is a pun on Adonai because we're both incorrigible punsters. And yeah, we've moved here. Well, Daddy hasn't, because that'd be weird. But Sammy and I have, and we now live in St Helens. So, as W.C. Fields might say, though relentlessly pursued across aerial housetop and vice versa, we have thwarted the malevolent machinations of our scurrilous enemies. In short, we have arrived. Yes, 3 years in the planning, and we have moved to St Helens in order to be closer to Flame Radio and Thorncross Young Offenders Institute, which is, when we left you last time, that's where we were going, and when we leave here, that's where we're going again. And I'd just like to send our thoughts and prayers out to Laura today, who unfortunately cannot be here. So Dad and I are stunt doubling for Laura, which I actually find really amusing because I'm riddled with...
And I look nothing like Laura.
You've done. The wig and skirt. Oh, I can't even pull that off on the radio because we're being filmed this time, Daddy. That's an awful idea for a sight gag.
Just close your eyes.
And I'll kiss you tomorrow. So I got to buy a bunch of Beatles records and get more kind of culturally inclined here. So, really, after we left here last time, Dad, Norman had commissioned you while I was in here with David and Laura, hadn't he?
That is correct.
And basically, it's a Bill Bryson type mission with a touch of Christianity about it. It's not called Postcards from the Edge because he's the guitar player in U2, and it'd be like, "Hello, Bono, wish you were here, love the Edge," and this is called Letters from Retirement. And so you immediately set about. With all due diligence, we'd barely left the room for 3 hours, and now we are in Thorncross Young Offenders Institute, and he's scribbling away, and he's there as an official capacity as an observer. And, well, Pops, what didst thou see?
Well, the inspiration for this was the great programme Letter from America, which I used to love. And the other thing is that when you retire, you're supposed to slow down, but that hasn't really happened for me. But you're supposed to slow down, and in slowing down, you see more. You are conscious of what's going on around you rather than rushing about. And as Joshua said, we left here and we went straight over to Thorncross Prison for Joshua's concert there. What I did was that, as I always do, I just sat at the back and watched the rehearsals, trying not to get in the way. I'm very good at getting in the way. People fall over me, people bump into me. I don't know why, but I try to keep out the way and just observe. Anyway, it's an hour to get ready for a 1 hour concert. And this was a pickup band made up of staff and prisoners. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is like trying to build a house without any plans. How do you know what talents these people have got? There are only 2 regular members of the Contraband, and I think, son, that is a brilliant name. And those 2 members are Joshua and the chaplain Sean. The others are recruited or volunteer on the day.
And they came up with the name, if I could just... That was their idea, that wasn't mine.
Well, it's still a brilliant name. I think
well, that all credit to them. Then.
Yes. As I sat there, it was like the mist lifting from my eyes. I was witnessing a superb example of team building, not only during the rehearsals, but also during the concert as well. And I've been many, many times to team building exercises, and I must admit I've actually run them myself. People were helping each other, they were giving and accepting ideas, they were helping with sound checks and sorting out cables. People drifted in and out during the rehearsals, some stayed for a few minutes, others much longer. When somebody arrived, there were handshakes, there were high fives, there was good-humoured banter. I actually was finding it very hard to believe that I was in a prison. For that first hour, Joshua was the alchemist. He had to bring these unique ingredients, this brew, this cocktail, to a point where it could be released for public consumption. The concert itself was a storming success, but I was still interested in the interaction between the group members. Joshua was not on stage for the first 2 numbers. The vocals were performed by a group member who started with the song Valerie, which just happened to be Joshua's mum's name. Then the drummer got up and passed the sticks to a guy in the audience. Now I thought he was having a strop and didn't want to go on anymore. But this, actually, I learned after, was quite amazing. They were sharing the drumming responsibilities. One could do rock numbers, whilst the other could do shuffles when required. Now, I'm not sure what a shuffle is. It's like a soft shoe shuffle, is it, or what?
Yeah, kind of. Like a rock beat would be like. Sorry. And a shuffle would be. Like just chugs along.
Yeah. So
like a train song. All Johnny Cash songs are
Yeah.
like train songs, you know.
Yeah, so one knew he was good at one thing, the other knew he was good at that, and they both knew what they were good at and were prepared to swap around, which I thought was absolutely amazing. And when we start to analyse this, it shows a great understanding of self, knowledge of individual strengths, individual weaknesses. There were no prima donnas in this. The task was the concert. That was the most important thing that evening. Again and again, I kept forgetting I was in prison. I sat there enjoying myself, watching other people enjoying themselves, the band and the audience. And all credit to Joshua, this was about supportive leadership, it was about them cooperating, good communication, self-knowledge and a clear goal. And the goal that evening was the concert. And I thought it was a storming concert. Well, there you are, son. I've done my little bit. That is my first letters from retirement.
Well, I think that's well worth coming out of retirement for. I knew it was going to have to be something significant because if I might make a slight observation, Daddy dear, you are the worst person I've ever met at retiring. You can't do it. You were just so busy and active all the time that retirement doesn't suit you. So it's lovely to have
more things to do in life.
Yeah, a channel. It's lovely.
Challenges.
It's lovely to have a channel because songs get, like you've used that and you've been creative with that. I think your use of the word alchemy was a little creative because, I'm not like John Dee or his mate Kelly or something, trying to turn lead in or base metals into gold.
Well, that's kind of what you were doing. You were taking the base ingredients and turning it into something.
Oh, I mean, I suppose if you
the sum of the parts were greater.
If you want to be really technical about it, yes, we're all made of carbon of some sorts. But what we forget is that we already contain the gold. So if we're prepared to mine a little bit,
you were extracting the gold.
Yeah. And it's already there. You don't have to make it, you don't have to fabricate it. It's just bringing out the best in people is all that is.
Right.
And you also mentioned the word no prima donnas. Now, I could be forgiven, you could be forgiven for accusing me out there in YouTube land of being a prima donna this very morning. But I do have to stress that it is the morning and very the morning for a bloke with chronic fatigue syndrome. It's not yet 11:15. You may never see this again, I am conscious. However, I do have hypothyroidism, so the glasses are staying. I failed the eye test this morning and consequently they're a bit bulgy. It's a bit early in the day. And also everything's going to have to be sung 2 semitones lower. But that's the mornings for you. So songs start there. Like you started a bit of creativity there. Yeah? Something struck a chord. Like a song, right? And you say something, and then you think, oh!
And what are you going to do next?
Well, a song that started in that very room.
Yeah?
Right? I think you were there that time as well, because it was the time when I was saying about, we were measuring between us, me and the chaps, like, in the audience, who was on the most medication in order to behave themselves for the day. And it turned out it was me.
Right.
The entertainment was more on more chemical restraints than the audience.
Yeah.
And I found this most amusing, and I muttered under my breath, oh, never mind, boys, we're all Judy Garland now.
Ah, yes.
You know, pills
yes.
to wake up, pills to go to sleep, perhaps pills to make certain urges to go away because they're inappropriate, or whatever, and we're all Judy Garland now. And I went home and I wrote Darlings, We're All Judy Garland Now, which I believe is your favourite.
It is indeed. I think it's a brilliant song. So let's share it with the audience.
So I've knocked it down a semitone or two because it's the morning, and here goes. So this is Darlings, We're All Judy Garland Now, and this is for the boys in my little Council of Scoundrels in Thorncross Young Offenders Institute, and out on the road where we found people who are sympathetic to their plight. Illuminati's gonna murder me. We're down from the 33rd degree. You don't believe those lies. Pyramids and eyes, and crescent moons and morning stars, and ley lines for the abattoirs to feed the beast the energy he needs. And Hollywood, it waves its wand, and Judy Garland sings her songs, and Toto wags his tail. Mind control is real. Laurel Canyon, Andy Hardy, Roddenberrytology, and Cedar Sinai. Can you look me in the eye and deny, darlings, we're all Judy Garland now? And that's the price we pay for sacred cows. So take your pills and sleep. Wake up and weep, 'cause we've demeaned all heaven will allow. And darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. Stanley Kubrick's built a street from every house of the elite in 2001. The monoliths come down and preyed upon. Lolitas laid by pederasts most every day, and legs wide shut, aye. And how is IBM delayed, and Barry Lyndon couldn't fit in Clockwork Orange, poured his own film, sat and lost its reins. Can't admit some things. Only hinted the conspiring on the clothing in the shining, and how much for a pink pussycat? Hell, you could put a man on the moon for that. Darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. And that's the price we pay for sacred cows. Oh, Coco to Cocaine, and what's that Hiram Williams tube you're playing? The drifter needs a snifter come the hour. And darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. Out of time and internet, and why do you think it's called a web you? Oh, it ain't free. Just ask Keanu Reeves. From vampire's teeth to matrices, and Neo 1 to his knees, he chose to take that pill. Like the rabbit got habit of his own free will, and this might have his stock in trade. And all my rock LP's been played by iron-fisted thugs in psychedelic gloves. And now they cry this Sergeant Pepper, Tim and Leary all together. All you need is love, and lots of drugs, and darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. And that's the price we pay for sacred cows. Smoke gets in your eyes, and monarch butterflies will get you fried. And why did Machiavelli write it down? Darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. Darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. And that's the price we pay for sacred cows. So hello, yellow brick road, Norma Jean, I'll see ya. But Judy, we need you, 'cause we can't see Kansas either. The song will be the death of me, I best get out of town. Darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. P.S. Toto sends his best bow wow. And darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. And darlings, we're all Judy Garland now. Somewhere all over the rainbow way. Yeah, that's Judy Garland now. And today when we go in, you know, it'll be just, you know, like it was before. Right?
Yeah.
The good times roll. You know, like, hey everybody, don't you look so down, 'cause contraband is back in town, so let the good times roll. You know, 'cause I don't feel well. Not today, I don't feel good at all. It like, doctor says, boy, you don't look well. Best convalesce back home in jail, so let the good time. We just gonna make it up, same as you do. What did we say last time? Make like the angels and wing it, I believe was our phrase.
Yeah. When we were chatting earlier, you said that you were going to do the Thomas Tallis song. I've not got the right title there, but the one that's on the road. On the road.
On the road with Thomas Tallis. If David would like to play that, I'll explain that.
Yeah. Just a little story.
Yeah, you go ahead with your story.
A little ramble. Well, a couple of weeks back, I was in Greenwich with my friend Barry, and there was this church, and they were doing some modernisation to it, and it looked like a building site. But people were going in, so we followed them in. I think it was called Saint Elphege. The church was called. Very unusual name. And I saw a plaque up there to General Wolfe. I thought he was in Canada. So I found one of these wonderful guides.
I thought he was dead.
Yeah, he was. Yes, he's been dead a long time. It was 1759.
He's still dead. Then.
He's still dead.
That's all right.
And I found one of these wonderful guides and said, "Yeah, well, why is there a plaque to him here?" And she said, "Well, he's a local lad, or he was. You know, this is where he lived and was brought up." And of course, at the top of Greenwich Hill, there's a big statue to him, which I hadn't made the connection. Anyway, I keep asking questions, and Barry wanders off in disgust because, you know, it's just what I do, ask people questions. Anyway, I'm
gathering information.
Yes. And I'm standing there, and my eyes go to the right, and there's a notice board, and on that notice board is the music of Thomas Tallis, which is going to be played in that church.
Splendid.
So I then tell the lady about you and the song that you wrote and this concept of this, you know, band that goes on into eternity. Just keep picking up these wonderful writers.
Yeah, good songwriters don't die, they just join the Thomas Tallis band. Yeah.
So, how about that for an introduction?
Brilliant. Hit it. He's going to play the wrong song then.
Oh, brilliant. I really like that one. Now, why is it that I've got Peterborough Cathedral in my head when I hear that?
Because that song, that was born there. That was really handy as well to tune the guitar because that's in E. The same as the top. Anyway, minor technical note there for the cameras. That. Standing in Peterborough Cathedral for the YMCA Sleep Easy event.
Yeah.
Now, we started doing those about 3 or 4 years ago, same time as we started doing Thorn Cross. And there we are, standing in this glory. I mean, it's cold, because they do them in the winter, you see, because hence where's the hardship for students and the like to pay for sponsorship to pretend to be homeless for the night and then raise money.
Yeah.
But every time they throw one of them, see, you can raise between 5 and 17 grand in not overnight. And it's such a privilege that to be asked back over and over again. And so we started off, I think, in Cambridge, and we did a couple of years there, and then we were asked to do Peterborough as well, and this year we've been asked to do Ipswich too, which we did. And then we made a documentary with Jonathan Martin, the CEO of YMCA Trinity, who's the charity that organised this homeless stuff. We've already done work with Emmaus, and so that was the next step. And thank you to Norman for saving that documentary, because we did have some terrible technical issues on that one, and it came out very, very echoey, and Norman managed to rein it in with the compressor, so thank you very much for that one, Norman. So there we were in Peterborough Cathedral for the very first time. It was lovely. It was all lit up because it's reddish brick. So they lit it red, and I was thinking of the age of the building and all the sounds that must have echoed in that forecourt. And then there was on this chilly October night or wherever it was, just little old me with an acoustic guitar singing to some people pretending to be homeless. And I imagined, I think, a revival, and as Jesus has the ability to resurrect the dead, you know, if you set this song sometime between the past and the future, and you just imagine that's God's band, and great songwriters don't die, they just join the Thomas Tallis band. So, you know, we've got basically every good hymn writer that ever lived is in my linear notes for that song. And I mean, it's all me, except the bass playing, right? But I've given the names to like Charles Wesley, who wrote or adapted all those Methodist hymns. So he becomes Chuck Wesley, for instance, for the exercise, to make it sound a bit more rock and roll, you know.
Yeah, but this all sounds, I don't know why, this becomes like a word association thing, but in my memory. So we've got Thomas Tallis at Peterborough, and you said that was for the YMCA. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And didn't you you said Ipswich?
Yeah.
You went to Ipswich.
Yeah, that was the football ground, yeah.
Oh, that's it, the football ground.
Yeah, it was
Because
under
you've
the
never gone to
turnstile.
football.
No.
You've never been in a stadium. You did. You went.
Yeah,
You went
I
with
know.
school. You went with Mr. Keddy at school. You were about 10,
Oh,
and
was
you
it?
went to see the Oxford-Cambridge match at Wembley Stadium.
Yes, I found the ticket the other day as we were unpacking from the move. It's an old plastic blue one before holograms were... No, paper blue one.
Yeah.
Before holograms were invented.
Yeah.
And it's got a stamp on it.
Excellent.
To say that you've paid to get in, or you've
You
gone
didn't
through
climb
the
over
term.
the fence. No, you got in legitimately.
No.
So what were you doing at a football ground?
Huh? That, I was working for... that night,
Yeah.
the YMCA. I do wish they'd stop doing them on a Friday night, though.
Yeah.
Because the Sabbath is a Saturday, and the Sabbath starts Friday night when the sun goes down. So I really do detest working Friday nights, if anyone's listening. So, but anyway, because that's like the Lord's work, you think, oh well, I hope he doesn't mind, and you go out and you do that. And yeah, so that particular night, it was Peterborough football. No, it weren't. It was Ipswich. Sorry, Peterborough Cathedral. Cambridge is the cricket ground. There's another sport that I've no interest in at all, right? And Ipswich was the football ground. So we're standing under the turnstiles because it's raining.
Yeah.
The poor players are on the field practicing for tomorrow in the pouring rain. But at least people's inclination to keep dry was stronger than their inclination to watch a free game of footy. So I got my audience.
So you're playing a game, you've got an audience sheltering, and you've got a football team training.
Yeah, nothing, no distractions whatsoever.
None at all.
No, nothing.
No. So if there were a few people with their backs turned to you, you knew why.
Oh yeah, and I can't stand up for longer than I'm on my own at the moment. So I didn't have anything to worry about at all.
Right.
No.
I think you need a break. Is there a musical break coming up for you?
No, not exactly. Because I've got to put it in context first, right? Just before we can... Right. In order to keep a little bit of spontaneity, dear listeners at Rat Flame 1521, medium wave, amplitude, modulation, bringing love unto the nation on a wave. A beckoning wave, a compassionate wave, a wave of good cheer, and come here and lend an ear and all be clear to that. Right, but in order to keep any spontaneity about this, and we have been practising spontaneity, we're on the road. On Dad and I practised spontaneity. This is cultured spontaneity. And so he's got his notes and I've got mine, and they're not remotely similar, and that's what keeps the banter up. It's actually called disorganisation, but you make the best of it. You play to your...
Yeah.
You see? Like with Walking Stick. Well, come on, I say, who ordered the Jew and the tux? This is just a little stick. And then this is a bigger stick, and that's your mic stand, and that's your opening, you know. But just before we come here last time, right, we went to Oxford. Just to complicate matters.
Not for a
further.
football match.
No. We didn't try to go to Cambridge and go to Oxford by mistake. We actually went to Oxford. It was not an Inspector Moose pilgrimage. This was a proper thing to Oxford where we met Mr. Chris Lambriano, did we not?
We did.
And shot the Rise and Rise of God's Foot Soldier in one day.
Yes.
But we had to keep quiet about that, didn't we? Because we hadn't sorted out who the film belonged to. And we decided to give it to Chris, didn't we? So, you and me and Chris are the directors, we've given the film to Chris on behalf of the Council of Scoundrels. Now, for anybody out there who doesn't know, Mr. Lambriano, poor chap, was unfortunately lumbered with the task of disposing of the earthly remains of one Jack the Hat McVitie, ordered to do so by one Reginald Cray, and he did as he was asked, and they all got nicked, and he spent 15 years in jail, and since then he's been a pillar of the community, and he's working still at the age of 81 now, I believe, for the lay community, a drugs and alcohol rehabilitation centre in Oxford, which is where we went after we'd visited Churchill's grave at Blaydon, at St Martin's Church, Blaydon. We went to the lay community, did we not?
We did.
And Chris described their plight. And
which was basically funding or lack of it.
Yeah, so we went away and made 3 plans, didn't we? 3 possible funding plans, which we then met with Chris later in the Blind Beggar and handed over to him and explained them. And in the meantime, I wrote the song "Lay Off the Lay" as an anthem based on the movie The Rise and Rise of God's Foot Soldier, based on Chris's words. So it's, if I'm honest, I have to say it's a co-authorship, and that's how I've put it on the record, of which 2,000 people, best part of, have listened to so far, and a couple of hundred people have watched the movie, and we've given permission for it to be shown in British prisons, so it's a non-profit making educational exercise, courtesy of the Council of Scoundrels, most of whom are in jail. The great moral rock and roll swindle is way underway. So, if we may have "Lay Off the Lay," because please ease the financial burden on Mr. Lambriano's beloved lay community, because the poor chap is running himself ragged in his defence. And if we play the song, we'll just keep chuntering on in the background.
Yeah.
So, David, if you would be so kind. Ladies and gentlemen, this is "Lay Off the Lay," written by Chris Lambriano. Yeah. There's a thing I couldn't say on the radio that I can probably say on YouTube. I think I just did that to come from it. It's a country song. Can't say more about that on the radio either.
Is this where you start talking about something?
What?
This one. Is that your next one?
I have to go home to sing the blues.
Yeah.
That's going home. Where's home, Daddy? Where's the born?
Yeah.
That's Hollow Newtown, unfortunately.
Ah, right.
Yeah, that's Shelter though. So this is the lay. So we've done Emmaus, we've done the YMCA, we've done the lay, and the next is Shelter.
And Shelter was with whom? Where did you play Shelter concerts?
I haven't.
You haven't?
I made him a record.
Yeah, okay.
And then I will do the concerts based on the record. You've got to have product first.
Yeah.
Have to have product first.
Okay.
Now, Mrs. DeMille over there.
Well, the listeners might like to know that today, Chris Lambriano's documentary is being aired.
What, the radio
documentary.
version?
Yeah.
Is it? I did not know that. Despite the tuxedo, this is because I woke up in it. Trust me, it happens a lot. Apart from that, I'm particularly vain. I didn't know that was on the...
Well, it's already done the rounds on the chat room and it's being repeated.
No, I didn't even know.
There you go.
Whoops. I better ring him and tell him.
What
The Chris Lambriano.
Yeah, it went out
Yeah.
yesterday and it's gone out tonight.
It's going out
Is it
tonight.
really?
8 o'clock tonight.
Do forgive me, I'd do the eye contact thing and I'd look really adoringly at you, but I'd probably frighten you because they're a bit bulbous at the moment. They tend to clear up by the afternoon.
Is that the correct next one for next?
My wrist feels as good as a rest, so get ripped out of your chest. Amphetamines, let the demons in. Yes, and I, they do, you know. Amphetamines.
Right.
Honest, if people have been doing that sniffy stuff, right? That lyric there, can't bear to hear Psalm 23, right? People who do amphetamines, right? A lot of them, if there's a certain form of psychosis that ensues, right? And that actually is very similar to demon possession. You try reading David's Psalm 23 at somebody who's lost their mind to amphetamines, and they cannot hear it. They will go bonkers. That's demons. They're real. Yeah.
At the end of this one,
Yes, sir.
if I pick up and say something like great song, great chords, and then I'll try and lead you in to talk about shelter.
Yes, of course.
Okay?
Excellent.
Yeah.
And protocol dictates that I do that, because you're my elder, and I must. Look at that.
30 seconds.
We missed a trick here. I could have mimed all the way through this and pretended it was supposed to. It's not convincing at all, is it? No, alright. As we are already going to have to seek the advice of an editor, I reckon that we could cut that bit.
Great song, and of course a great cause. Now you mentioned about Peterborough Cathedral and the work you did there for the YMCA and people doing rough sleeping that night, just being homeless for the night.
Yes.
Have you done anything for shelter?
That song is for shelter. I felt, was for shelter because I felt rather guilty that I hadn't done anything, and I bought a book to add to the Council of Scoundrels. It was a signed copy of David Courtney's "Stop the World, I Want to Get Off." Just stop the ride. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave. Stop the ride. I want to get off. Right. Because we did meet Dave, didn't we, and some of the others.
Yeah.
He was very nice to me anyway, that's all I can say. He invited me to... Well, it's very nice to me, that's all I can say. But, sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, I bought the book so I could read his story, and the man I bought it off put a little note in, which he didn't have to do, which I thought was really nice,
Yeah.
and it said, all the monies for this book, kind of all 8 quid of it or something, he would donate to shelter. And his dad was a collector of all this stuff, this fellow,
Yeah.
Mr. Jim Heald of Bolton, Lancashire, actually. His father Bernard was a collector of these sort of books, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't know what to do with them, so he was just selling them. So he very kindly said he was donating the money. And I said, well, actually, this is what I do, you know, not for a living, because I do it for nothing,
Yeah.
but would you like a song? And he said, oh, yes, please. So we spoke on the phone for about half an hour, and based on the conversation, because I've done that before, I did Blood Money with Doug Moore,
Yeah.
based on half an hour on the phone. You kind of get the gist of their argument, and then you act as an advocate for them, because they don't think in poetry with tunes hanging off of it, and I do. But there's obviously something that, or many things that Mr. Jim Hild of Bolton is vastly superior to me, but songwriting ain't one of them. So so we got together, and that happened.
Right, and Dave Courtney's book is called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Did you say?
Stop the Ride, I Want to Get
Stop
Off.
the
And I've
Ride.
made
Stop the World
I've
is an
made-
Anthony Newley film,
Yeah,
isn't it?
so
Yes.
the song coming up, sorry, because that was obviously Lay Off the Lay that we've just played, and oh dear, I get confused very easily, and it's Confucius, just lay off with you. So it's the song that's gonna come up now.
Yes.
Sorry, and thank you for not correcting me. I'm so helpful. I'm terribly sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
If with a wave of my extremely vaguely double-jointed fingers that never ever leave my excessively Hungarian hands, I could make it all up to you. I would, but I can't.
Right.
So,
Now, you want to go home or something? Is this what you're saying?
no, no, it's too early. I've just got out. I don't get out often, and I've just got out, so we might as well make the best of it. We're out all day. You're stuck with me, mate. You ain't getting out of it that easy. Now, this is called I Had to Go Home to Learn to Sing the Blues.
And this is for shelter.
Yeah, and this is also a true story, unfortunately, because, as you know, I didn't behave terribly well about 7 or 8 years ago, and it rendered me in a position where people could look at me and wag their fingers in a, ooh, that was a silly thing to do way, and quite a few of them took the opportunity to do just that, so I left. Left to St Ives, yeah.
And then you've moved again.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, you've just added another 150 miles onto my journey to come around for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm not tapping you for 150 quid a month top up.
A tip.
A tap for a tip up. Top
up.
Help me.
A top up.
It's early. You're better in the mornings. This off mic heckling is a feature of Dad and I. Again, we're playing to our technical ineptitude.
Do you think it's time for a song?
I
Give
don't.
you a rest. It's a bit early for you.
I think we should play I Had to Go Home to Sing the Blues, because that was so difficult to explain. If we don't play it and it lacks any context at all, we're going to look like idiots.
Yeah, I think we're doing a good job at that anyway.
No, I think actually at the moment it's seamless. They won't have noticed, neither of them. And but you know, if we get any more silly, they'll bust us for sure. We really don't know what we're talking about before noon, do we? So play the song. Play the song. I Had to Go Home to Sing the Blues. David, if thou would be so kind. Huh? What? Oh, good. Read my eyes. That was seamless, wasn't it?
You're supposed to be supporting me.
I am supporting you.
This is my debut.
Dad. Even a best supporting actor must give his leading man a chance to shine, mate.
What do you think I'm doing?
I'm not in charge of thinking what you're doing, that's your job. How can you have run Hackney College for 30 years?
Yeah, the thing was, the way you run it is like the way that Trump is running America. Nobody knows what he's thinking and nobody knows what he's going to do next.
Do you think I do? Do you think I do? Trust me, I'm bipolar. I know how this show goes, but not how it's going to happen.
All right.
Minor note from David. It's a technical note. We've got to read this upside down. Shut up.
13 minutes.
13 minutes to go.
Right, oh, we've got to do
Oh,
that.
listen.
I've got written down Noah's Ark and I've got a story about that as well.
It better be quick. It better be a quick one. Is that to go in total or before Matador kicks in?
Before Matt.
Is that in total or before Matador kicks in?
No, in total.
Right, so
Matador is 3 minutes 38, so you've got 10 minutes, just over 10
10 minutes. Okay.
Quick start.
10 minutes. Because I'd like to mention, if I might, just something very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of people I want to thank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like Sam. Me.
Oh, it's not like an Oscar special. So I haven't won nothing. Yeah, Flame have entered. Did I tell you Flame have entered us into the, like us, because you're on my show too. So into the Entertainer of the Year spot. Good grief.
Favourite.
It's just me doing stupid Moses impersonations and pretending to be Bela Lugosi occasionally, you know. It's just me talking to myself in stereo.
Yeah.
And then you coming on and being a bit sensible occasionally. Oh, and just while this song is playing, I'd like to put in a plug for the forthcoming and most excellent sitcom, the first in Flame's career on as a radio station, featuring Dad and myself and my mother and the great Rob Porter, Olympus Kebabs, the story of Zeus and Poseidon Acropoliopoulos, who after plummeting from Mount Olympus and due to a downturn in the Greek economy now run a kebab shop in Shepherd's Bush, aided and abetted by Moses, patriarch of the Jews. Dad is portraying Kronos and my mother is playing Rhea and Ron is playing Poseidon's son, Cyclops. All the leads are played by me, except Sam there, who plays...
I can't remember.
Oh,
You want to say something?
yes. Thank you for playing that, David. And there's a couple of other people I'd like to thank. The word you're looking for is Oedipus, by the way. His mother is Jocasta, and I have to play her out like that. Sorry, we were talking between while the record was playing, but we had to clear that up. It's terribly important. Yeah, there's a couple of people I'd like to thank. One is Rob, the manager, who patiently, in one massive 11-hour stint, edited the Lambriano movie. And while we were there, I met another fellow by the name of Guy Radford, and he introduced me to his brother Mark, and they are in a band called The Raid. And as I met them there, I ended up writing most of the lyrics for their first album, and I wish them the best of British with that. And Guy is an excellent songwriter. And thank you very, very much to Rob, the manager, as well. And thanks to Jonathan Martin for the YMCA documentary, and also Rick O'Barry for the Behind the Dolphin Smile documentary, which I believe is to come in your things to come. So,
Well, in all of
in your things to come, either your list you ain't done yet.
I've got things to come. Anyway, all this kind of thought association.
Yeah, it's rare, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I was just thinking back, and I actually had a birthday last month. You know, they crop up every year, but I had a birthday last month.
They do?
Yeah, they do. And I got some cards. And I've been getting cards, you know, right the way through August for people who had forgotten my birthday, and I then sent them a reminder to send me a card. But, you know, that, by the by.
Yeah, they forget your card. I send the boys round, they get out of hospital, they send you a card. There's a little waiting time involved.
Yeah. So there's still one outstanding, but, you know, we'll get it out of him.
We will. I've got the crowbar. It's in the back of the car.
Anyway, one of my good friends sent me a card which had Noah's Ark on it.
Did he?
Yes, and it was just sailing off, and lo and behold, watching the boat sail away, or the ark sail away, were two unicorns. And one unicorn turned to the other and said, "Oh, I thought it sailed at 20 past."
So for a belated birthday card, that was actually really, really good, wasn't it?
Yes. So, and I think that could be a lead into another one of your songs.
It could well be, because throughout the course of this show, we have been doing a brief retrospective of what I have been doing this past year. This has been a year of many albums, because basically you never know how long you've got to be here. So Judy Garland was from All of Me, Ave Yahweh and Thomas Tallis were from Keeping the Flame. And this one, coming up, The Matador That Cried, which is a story that was misreported in the press. There was apparently a bullfighter who'd, realising the error of his ways in the bullfighting arena, had gone, "This is a terrible idea," and apologised to the bull and went home. But he didn't. That didn't happen. What happened? He was gored within an inch of his life, and then he said, "That's a terrible idea." Well, I've got this theory that, you know, if, unlike my good self and that matador, that people should really change their minds before they get injured beyond belief, and then they'd all live longer and be happier.
This would make more sense if he'd been gored by a unicorn.
It would, but you had to pick an extinct animal, didn't you? Why didn't you just... What was I going... You might as well have given me a dodo to work with, Pops. I mean, come on. Did they make it... This album is based on one minor leap of faith, and it ain't that unicorns were on it. Or boat, honestly.
You haven't mentioned Noah or the Ark yet.
No, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it, because he said we had 10 minutes, you did your bit in 30 seconds and stitched me right up, so I'm padding, alright? If I must explain, both on video. I know! I've got a clock in my head. Reef man. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't know what they're doing. Trust me, I'm bipolar. I know how this show goes. Right. Noah's Ark. Simple suspension of disbelief in the interests of the love of God and romance itself. Right. Noah had an ark in which he saved all the animals. Imagine his granddad, Methuselah, stowed away. Was a fair to middling singer and a better guitar player on this than he's been on most of his records lately. This is a gig on a boat for the animals to wake them up before they crash into Mount Ararat. And this is the matador who cried. David, when thou art ready. seamless, right? It was.
But it's very good. It's natural. It flows. Yeah. You've got 3 minutes. You want to fill it to say goodbye, farewell, and 3 minutes after this is finished.
Have we still got?
We'll go out on one of his own as you had it up for the boys. One of his own. You know the one you selected anyway?
I can't remember what I selected.
One of his own.
One of his own.
Yeah, we'll go out on that because
Yeah.
that is for the boys. And now he's said when you're down in jail to
Yeah.
come and carry on.
Spell it right.
This was your idea.
Do you want it with the prayer or without? Oh no, there's one of them which is the prayer, then there's the song.
Just do the straight song. It's shorter. You'll get the lyrics in. Sammy done it. This was your idea. This one. And Scott Walker died that day. And you read that to me on the internet in the morning. And I thought I'll make a Scott Walker record. And I tried to play an E and I missed. So it's here. It was just a series of fudged chords. And then add a bass line and it worked, yeah. And then it sounded okay, so I kept on with it and nobody told me it was dreadful, so... Well, that was an accident, that one.
So do you want to say a very quick goodbye, thank you, all that kind of thing, and we'll go into your final song?
You lead off on the thank yous and I'll just... Because I'm still in shock over the unicorns.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, for 10 minutes, can you extend?
They'll be back.
They misread the time.
Yes. Oh, we'll be back. Oh, return.
Dear me. That and the dodo. I don't know what happened to the dodo.
Neither do I.
No, he fell asleep.
The Tasmanian devil got
They
it.
don't sound too smart. Did they forget to breed or something?
I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them. We're too stupid to breed these days. We are. As Hancock would say, genocidal maniacs, a lot of us, you know? Culling their own children in industrial quandaries, honestly. Of course, says Christians. Honest.
Shouldn't have touched that.
30 seconds and in you go.
Right, you and I'll just interrupt and be disruptive.
Yes. Just whatever you do best, do on my show. Oh, and David, I must say on camera, as I claim to be responsible for this debacle at the very start, and had my director's head on. Sorry for not being too pleased about the one cut that we're going to have to do. Yeah, my apologies. It's appalling. I'm appalled. That was Matador Who Cried, written with my wife Samantha, and it's on the album Methuselah Youngman Live on the Ark. And I like to thank Sam really because those two albums, the first and second book of Lamentations, which was Methuselah Youngman Live on the Ark, they were co-written with my wife, and it's very, very nice to have a domestic relationship that is also a working relationship and a fruitful relationship. I cannot physically have children, and our children are our songs. In 2014 I began talking about something called the unsingable song. I did not realise what that was. What that was 137 songs, not all in the same key, that just needed to be written individually, and now they're all done and they're donated to the listeners here at Flame. All my songs are your property, and Dad, if you'd like to wrap it up.
Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you for all those that have helped me get here. This is my first ever live show on Flame Radio. I was a little nervous to start with. Now I am distraught because I can't get the thought of those unicorns out of my head, that they are now extinct. It is so sad. God bless.
Whatever you do best, go do for somebody else. Being you, I am you, I love you. Good night. Good morning, Ian.
Well done, that was brilliant. Spontaneous.
And we're going now for one of his own.
46 years in the making.
One of his own, which is for the boys in Thorncross Young Offenders Institute, which we will now go and sound check for and entertain until such time as I fall down. Hence, rather inappropriate apparel. We have other things to do. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. God bless you.